All right, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and actually put this back up. I want to share my screen. We're gonna go with this screen here. Can you both see my screen? Should be just a light and wonder. Well, now it's back up there. Go back over here. All right, so you both can. So I'm gonna go and get this presentation started. Today we're here to talk about the Horizon Cabinet. And before I get into the meats and potatoes of the whole presentation, first thing I want y'all to think about, even though this is a very new cabinet to y'all, the easiest way to remember this, is pretty much you're going to start from the ground up when it comes to building this cabinet. And based off the presentation, hopefully you all to get the gist what it is I'm talking about when we start this part. Oh, I got to stop sharing my screen one more time. Hold on. Stop sharing. Oh, here. Go back to Teams. This time I want to share, but I want to turn on my sound. Okay. And go back to there. There we go. All righty. I just want to make sure based off of some of the videos I have, I want to go ahead and share that with you. So again, we're going to talk about the Horizon cabinet, one of our newest cabinets we have that's out there. We're not going to worry about the sign-in, but some of the things we're going to be talking about, we're going to take a look at this specification as well as the prerequisites, for this Horizon cabinet or installation that you all are going to be doing. We're also going to go through and learn the process of securing and preparing the cabinet, for its operation. With that, first thing you all need to be aware of, you're going to be getting, this is a big cabinet. I mean, it's huge. But you're going to have pretty much two pallets. And on the first pallet, you're going to have the unicab, the footrest, and the IDEC. Now, which one I'm talking about? You're going to have this one here. It's going to be one pallet. Then on your second pallet, it's going to be all the items or the pieces you're going to use for the sign itself. So it's like based off the unicab, we're going to, based off the second pallet, install components around it. Now, the monitor, depending upon how many cabinets you're actually going to be doing, if you're only doing one, the monitor itself, this last box here, it's going to be on this pallet by itself. If you had, say, three of these games you're going to be installing, then it would be, you know, um, one palette of each of number one and two, and then they will probably take the monitors and put those on a separate palette. Now, based off of palette number two, pretty much what we've done is I'm giving y'all like a breakdown of what you're going to have on each one of those, what's in each one of those boxes on palette number two. As you can see, that's going to be a total of 7 boxes. Based off these 7 boxes, but that they will be labeled, and they do have they have a sticker on them, and based off the sticker, you will see based off what you see here. Box number 1 is going to be like your crown. Box 2 is going to be the topper. 3, 4, 5, and 6 will be your pretty much the cradles, as we call them, that go around the sign itself. And then in box number 7, you're going to have like the back panels. Now, why they call it micro LED sign install, I don't know. They should have called it back panels. But in box number 7, that's where you're going to have all your pieces for the back, as well as some of the assembly for the footrest. Required tools. Just like with everything else we have that's out there, I put together a list of the required tools. You're obviously going to need, you're going to have locks that you're going to be installing, Cat5 cables, socket wrenches, needle nose, pliers, Phillips screwdrivers, as well as hex wrenches and stuff. But you're also going to need to have at least 2 10-foot ladders, only because of how tall the sign is and some of the components you got to put on top of it. Based off of the voltages, so everybody's aware, again, this is what the cabinet's going to look like. If you're running 120 volts AC, it's going to use 60 hertz. 240 volts AC is going to be 50 hertz. Operating current at 120 volts is going to be 5.8 amps, and that's just for the unicab. With the sign added in, you're going to have a total of 13.5 amps for this cabinet. So for every cabinet, obviously on a 20 amp circuit, Well, for every cabinet you have that's going to be plugged in, you're going to need to have a 20 amp circuit for each one, only because of the amount of amperage that this cabinet is drawing. The height of the cabinet is going to be 111.9 inches in height, 46 inches wide, and 45.5 inches deep. As you can see, this cabinet weighs like 1,000 pounds. Now, that's intimidating when you think about it, but in the end, what's going to take place is you'll see it actually moves around fairly easy. And the thing is, when we start talking about the installation, based off what I'm going to tell you, what you want to take into consideration, you're pretty much going to put the cabinet almost in the location, well, actually in the location where it's going to be installed. And you no longer have to worry about moving it anymore. And you're pretty much just going to build it from there. When it comes to looking at, all the doors and locks we have that is on there, and this is not the world's best picture, but I do have, better pictures that will show you. You're going to have the attending key is going to be on the left-hand side of the cabinet, right below the speaker. You're going to have a belly door. Belly door is going to have a lock as well as a release lever. You're going to have your cash box access door, and behind that, you're obviously going to have, your cash box door. But on the outside, on the right-hand side, you're going to see the cash box access release lever as well as the lock. We're obviously going to have the main door, and based off the main door, the locks is going to actually be mounted to the main monitor. So you're going to have the main door lock as well as the main door release lever. Now, what do those look like? Starting with the attendant key, as I told you, it's going to be on the left-hand side, right below the speaker. And this is pretty much what it's going to look like. When it comes to the belly door, as I said, it's going to be, one door. And the nice thing about this door can be taken off. But you're going to have the belly door lock as well as the release lever. And pretty much what you're going to end up doing, you're going to unlock the lock, obviously, and then you're going to take that lever or the release lock, and you're going to pull it to the left, as you can see, and that door will fall forward, or come forward, I should say. I don't want to say fall is a bad word. So it'll come forward. Based off of it coming forward, what's going to take place is inside the cabinet, you're going to have a few things that you need to, that you're going to see. Starting over on the left-hand side, as you can see, we got power switches. Now, based off the power switches, what we've done is we have two power switches. One is going to be for the cabinet itself, or the unicab, and the other one is going to be for the sign or the cradles and stuff that we're going to be installing. Up at the very top above the CPU, again on the left-hand side, we have our DC modulator. Pretty much based off the power supplies that we have, it's pretty much like one voltage, and then we put this modulator in there to regulate or manage all of the other voltages that are required, for the different components that we have this in the cabinet. Right there in the middle, as you're probably familiar with already, we have the CPU, and the CPU obviously plugs into the backplane board. CPU is the brain of the operation, and the backplane board, I call it like it's like the heart with all the nerves plugged into it. And all these nerves are all these connections that goes out to the different peripheral devices that are connected to the sign. Right below the CPU, and it's not the world's best picture at the moment, but I do have one that's going to be better. We have two power distribution boxes in this cabinet. Like I said, overall, you're looking at 13.8 amps. So what we've done is for the EGM or the unicab itself, all the devices, like your player track and all that stuff can be plugged into the EGM power distribution box. Then we have one for the sign. Based off of the sign, again, you want to make sure that when you plug it in, it's plugged into the switched ports, and I'll show you a better picture of that. Then we have the subwoofer. The subwoofer is actually, it's not mounted in. It has pretty much like rubber grommets, so you're pretty much, there's a cable that is connected to the subwoofer. You will disconnect that cable, and then you can lift it out. As I was saying, again, I don't have a real good picture of it. The belly door can be taken off. So with the door open, all you would do is simply just grasp it on, each end. You can lift it up, and you can set it to the side to do the work that you want to do. Now I just want to take a look here and see. If y'all have questions, you're probably going to have to hit the symbol, because I don't have I have the chat pretty much minimized. So you can use this symbol right here to raise your hand, and I'll see it come up, and then I can pause and ask questions. Are we okay so far on both sides? Kevin and Brian, y'all good? All right. Now, based off of the components inside the belly door, let's take a look at the other side. Like I said, we also have the cash box access door. It pretty much is like, as you can see on the left-hand side, it has its lock and its release lever on the right-hand side. But pretty much what's going to take place, you're going to unlock the lock, and then you're going to pull on this release lever. And what's going to take place, this door will actually fall. It will come forward. So, when you pull a release lever, you can pull it forward towards yourself, and then you have access to the cash box door, as well as the cash box and the validator and all that stuff. Then for this picture, I apologize, but what I've done is, again, like I said, on the main monitor, that's where you will find your release lever as well as the lock. As you can see, the picture over here on the right, this is what the cabinet's going to look like, and my arrow's pointing what that location is going to be at. But the nice thing about this cabinet, I can't say when it comes to the locks. The locks on this cabinet is actually real easy to put in, or better yet, real easy to install. And for the most part, easy to get access to and stuff. So you all shouldn't have any issues with putting the locks and stuff on the cabinets. Now, before we get started with the install, the one thing we always have to do is, based off of that the checklist, you will go through and you just want to verify your inventory based off what you have. Again, you're going to have 2 pallets and 1 big box. On the first pallet, you're going to have your unit cab, which is here. The bottom box is going to be your iDeck, and this box is going to be all the things you're going to need for the footrest assembly. And again, this box, this pallet over here, will be all the items we're going to use for the sign itself. So once we've verified our inventory, what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead. We're going to obviously unpack everything. Now, depending upon how much area y'all have to work with, one of the things you want to take in consideration is, based off of the amount of boxes and things you have, do you have enough space to where you can have bring all the boxes out, or do you need to stage the boxes? And if you have to stage things, again, based off of the process, you will want to have obviously the unit cab out first. Then you want to have all of the pallet number 2. Once you got everything off of pallet number 2, based off of the boxes and stuff. Once you got all that built, then you can go and grab the iDeck, assembly. Now, what we're going to do when we bring out the unit cab, we're going to first and foremost take into consideration our power that we have. So, what type power do we have? Is it a whip, or is the power mounted above on the ground, mounted coming out of the floor, I should say? Depending on the type power you have, you may, well, you shouldn't have to do any modification, but you might have to. But you want to take and look at what kind of power you have. Once you've identified the type power you have, you're obviously going to take the unit cap and you're going to put in the location where it's going to be installed. You're going to go ahead, open up the belly door, and you can remove the belly door. Now, like I said, based off of, as you can see here, these are it's pretty much like fingers that rest on these pretty much like pins that has like this bearing on it. So when as you raise or lower the door, it rides on these pivot points. So you can actually just take this door, grasp it on each side, and lift it up, and you can set it to the side. So you want to go ahead and remove the belly door. Once you've got the belly door removed, based off of pallet number 1, you're going to find the pieces we're going to need to put on the footrest itself. And like I said, think about it, you're going to start from the ground up. Now, within the footrest box, you will have all of your end pieces that you need, or the pieces we're going to talk about here. You're going to put on the left side and the right side. When it comes to putting the left or the right side in, hey, this should be a video, I thought. . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . And what you're going to see, the guys, they're going to go ahead, you're going to see them installing them. But what you want to take in consideration, and you'll see one of the guys they're going to be fighting over here. You're going to see like these little fingers. Oh, I need highlighter pen. You're going to see he's going to kind of like struggle when you're putting these pieces in on the left as well as the right, as well as the front. You want to make sure that you get that it has like this little arm that's kind of going to go in. So let me start the video here. And hopefully this will clarify it. Escape that, discard. Hey, it wasn't supposed to do that. There we go. Now let's play this video. So you see those little things that have this on the side? You want to go ahead and you got to make sure that you line them up right. And I mean, based off this gentleman here, it's actually on wrong. So those fingers he have, they actually have to go in under the plate that's going to be on the unit cab. So you want to make sure that you install it correctly. So as you can see, again, he's taking these out because he realized he put them in wrong. He's going to take it, and then he's going to slide the fingers under the cabinet to make sure that they're mounted incorrectly. So again, remember, start from the bottom and work your way up. Once you got the two side support pieces put in, you're also going to have the front footrest that you're going to put in. And again, it's pretty much the same thing. It's going to have these fingers that's going to, that you can see they're going to slide them under there. Once you get them slid under, and it's not as hard as they're making it out to be. Actually goes in pretty easy. Our floor is a little bit unlevel. So he's going to get it put in, and then with the provided hardware, you're going to go ahead and secure those. On each of these support pieces, you're going to have three screws that's going to be on each one of them, and the hardware is there. So they'll go through. They'll finally get it figured out. They'll put that in. So we start the footrest first, and then again, that box is going to be on the pallet that the unit cab is on. Now what's going to take place after we got the front pieces on, we're going to put in what I call the back support. Now, based off of these supports on the back, these will be found in box 7 of 7. So that one box that has the back panels, when you open it up, that's going to be another box that's going to be in there. And inside that, you're going to see these two black pieces that you're looking at here. One's going to be for the left side and one's going to be for the right. So based off of those, you're going to take those out and you're going to secure those to the cabinet. Now, with these here, what's going to take, oops, not that. You're going to have 3 screws that's going to be on each side. So you got 3 screws, and one's pretty much going to be pin. One's pretty much going to be like right in here. One's going to be right in here, and then the third one's going to be right in here somewhere. But yeah, it'll be pretty obvious when you see those. So we completely assemble the footrest with all the parts. Now, the one part I just realized, like I said, I rushed to put this together. You're also going to have this piece right here that has to be installed. So what I would do, now I know, so I got to make a change. So this piece here, this last one I'm talking about, this one here will go on first. Then you would do the supports around the front, that prior video. And then thirdly, you will put this black bracket on here. Sorry about that. And again, I was just trying to rush to put this together yesterday to make sure I had something for you all. Once you got all that assembled, the next thing we're going to do, you're going to go over to the pallet that has the all the sign stuff. In there, box number 4 will have the topper in it. Based off the topper, we're going to go ahead, and this is when you're going to need the ladder. The unit cab is in the spot, footrest is all done. You're going to take the topper out, and you're going to have to install it. But inside that box, you will also see another box. This box is going to have 5 LED panels. 4 of them are going to be spares, and one is going to be one that you're going to have to use to mount onto the crown. So you're going to go ahead, you're going to take the topper out, mounts real easy. There's 3 points that you got to make sure that you're going to secure this topper to the top of the unit cab. So you're going to go ahead and insert those 3 screws. Once you got the topper secured, there's also going to be a cable that you're going to have to connect to the topper. It's going to have a cable that's you're eventually going to use for the candle, but you got to plug it in to the unit cab itself. If you do not plug that in, Guarantee when you start installing the software and stuff, you're gonna see the tilt code T, and that's letting you know that the topper is not connected. So when you put the topper on, remember to connect that cable. So as far as the structure of the unicap, we pretty much everything that we need, for the unicap is all pretty much at this point done and out the way. With that done and out the way, we can now start looking at putting the cradles on, or pretty much the LED panels all the way around. Now, what I've done here is like based off of, I want to point out a couple things. For the left cradle, you're going to have it's going to have the receiving card that's going to be in there. I'll show you a better picture of that here lately. But based off of the receiving card, you have an access point to where you're going to pull the DP cable through here. Down at the bottom, again, with the left cradle, you're also going to have an access point to where you can pull the power. And this power cable, again, is going to plug into the sine power distribution port, and you're going to plug it into a switched port. Now, also, what we have is on each cradle, and I'll show you a better picture of it, it's going to have like this pretty much finger that sticks out, and what's going to take place are your alignment pins. These alignment pins are going to go inside of these teardrop holes. And again, that helps you with the alignment. So you're going to lift the cradle and you're going to put it in a place there. Once you got the cradle put in place, you'll obviously go ahead and pull your power through the bottom port, your DVI cable through the top port. And what you're going to do is you're then going to secure this cradle to the cabinet itself. For the top, and I got to change this one around. Let me go forward. For the bottom cradle, you're going to have 2 points on where you're going to be securing the cradle to. As you can see, I mean, and it's pretty obvious. The nice thing is, based off my cabinet, what you're seeing here in this picture here, they actually have arrows that will point to where these screws will go. So you will look in the top. This is the top of the cradle, and then when you look down here in the bottom, where I'm pointing here, there will be an arrow there. So you can just, when we look in the cabinets now, they have an arrow that's going to point to tell you this is the points you're going to use to secure the cradle to the unicab itself. Same thing for the top. Only thing that's going to be different about the top is this picture here is the top of the unicab. So that's your one mounting point. Now that's your one point where you're going to put the cradle in. And then right next to it, there's a security screw, and you'll see an arrow. And on the topper, the one that we mounted, the last piece we just mounted, this is what I was talking about. You'll see an arrow, and there's going to be a screw right there. That's indicating that's where the screw is going to, secure the top of the top cradle to. Okay. Now, what's going to take place on each of the lower cradles, the left as well as the right, you will see these alignment points. And this, again, is pretty much just to help you, when you're putting these cradles on to help you with the alignment. And you'll see those. But, I mean, you got one that's going to be for the left and one that's going to be for the right. And then the top cradle will actually line up. It'll have 2 pins that'll stick out. And that will be your pretty much your guide for those. Now, based off of, again, the cradles, the left cradle as well as the right cradle has power plugs. Based off of, again, the lower cradles, those are going to be in boxes 5 and 6. The left cradle, again, you will have the DVI connection that will have to be plugged in, as well as a power. The cradle on the right will just have power. Based off of each of the cradles, when you go to plug in the power, like I said, right behind the subwoofer, and it's probably easier to take the subwoofer out when you go to plug these cables in. And what I've done is I've highlighted, this is the ports that you want to use. So you can see you have 4 additional power plugs is on there, but you want to use the ones that is switched. So based off of that switch that's in the unicap, you want to be able to control the sign through that switch. Now, in the left cradle, you will see this receiving card. This DVI to DP cable, it will be found in the topper box, not the topper box. Yeah, the topper box. That box that has all the extra LED panels. There will also be a DVI to DP cable. You're going to take the DVI cable and plug it in as right where my finger is, or you'll connect it, and then you'll take the DP in, and you're going to pass it through that port that I showed you all earlier, because that you will see that access point through the cradle. Then what you're going to do, you're going to take and plug that DP into that DP connection into port 3 of the CPU. So the sign will run through port 3 for the sign. Now, based off the power plugs again, I hate to kick this horse in here, but this is pretty much what it looks like. And again, you will pass that through the opening of the unit cap and plug it into the sign distribution box, and make sure you plug it into the switch ports. Next thing we're gonna do after we got the left and the right, and it's really up to how you all want to do it. Like I said, when you think about building this cabinet, think about it building it from the ground up. And in all actuality, I don't want to say this, but you got one person can actually build this, but I would strongly suggest you have at least no less than two, and if you can have a third person, that third person is the one who can actually unbox the things, and then based off of them unboxing it, they can pass it up to the two of you that's up on the ladders. So now that we got both the left and the right cradles, lower cradles mounted, we can now go ahead and start mounting, installing our top cradles. And again, the top cradles can be found in boxes 3 and 4. And again, based off those points that I pointed out, earlier, when it comes to securing it, so you mount the cradles on, do all for the lower cradles, do your power, your DVI, for those. Then you go ahead and you'll take the top cradles, you'll put those on, you'll go ahead and secure those, and we won't worry about doing the connections at this moment. But I guarantee you, once you start building this, you're probably going to go ahead based off of, if you say start on the left side, you'll build the left side first, lower cradle, upper cradle, then you'll do your connections. And I'll get to that one in a second. But once you got those cradles, all 4 cradles, left and right, top and bottom, mounted to the unit cap and secured, the very next thing we want to do is we have what we call a crown. Now, this crown, the candle will not be on the crown itself. The candle will be inside, they have this box that has like all the tangs and all that stuff that we provide. It's going to be in that bag that's going to be inside the unit cap. You want to take that candle out and you want to mount it to the crown before you go ahead and install it, because it's obviously going to be up at the very top. It's going to, connect to, pretty much it's going to fill in how the whole cabinet looks, with the sign itself. So put the candle on first. Once you got the candle mounted, you're going to go ahead and you're going to install the crown up top. Now, what they've done is, and this is probably the best picture I could get, based off of the one end, this here's our crown. This here is our top, I think, left cradle. It has like a little alignment pin. It's going to obviously go into, the alignment hole. And then over here is where you will put the screw in. One of the things I've noticed when it comes to putting the crown in, sometimes it does not sit flush, and it should sit flush. If you have an issue with the crown sitting flush, these LED panels, you can take it off, put the crown, go ahead and mount the crown, and then re-put that LED panel back on. Because these panels, sometimes, they move around or what have you. And, it's actually lower than this for the bottom part. So you pretty much have a gap up here is what I'm trying to say. You'll have a gap up here because that LED panel slid down. Because it slid down, it's going to cause you not to be able to put the crown on flush. So if you run into that issue, remember, you can remove this panel, or you can even push it up and then go ahead and put the crown back on, and it should sit in there without you having to press it down or anything. Now, on the crown, you're going to have, based off of that box that was in the topper box, the 5 LED panels, the One of those LED panels is what we're going to have to mount onto the crown because that will also be missing. What you're going to do is based off of the orientation, you want to take the arrow, as I'm showing you here, on the crown, you will have, it will tell you what direction this arrow needs to go. So you want to make sure when you connect this LED panel that that arrow is going in the same direction that is pointing to on the candle. Okay? You do that, you won't have to worry about any issues at all. The other four panels, might as well talk about that now. Inside the unit cab, below the, where the main monitor or the main door is, we'll call it. You got plenty of back wall space back there. You can take those four extra panels and you want to, just put them in, in their magnetized, stick them to the back of the, in the back behind the monitor there. But keep in mind, based off of the, you don't have a lot of room once the monitor is open. So you want to put them to where it's easier for you to reach them or grasp them if you need to replace one of the LED panels. All right. And this is obviously a repeat. So again, like I said, I'm sitting here trying to put this all together. But when it comes to now data connections, each cradle will have a connection that we have to obviously daisy chain. We also have on the crown connections. When you're looking at the connections for the crown, on the left side, you're going to have to connect power and data. Data is pretty much going to be it's going to be Cat5 lines, and you'll see those. And they are color coded. Based off the colors, you want to match color to color, obviously. On the right side of the crown, you only have to connect data. No, I'm sorry, power, not data. Another mistake. Got to correct that one too. So you want to, so right side, you want to connect power, not data. And on the left side, you got power and data. And again, when you look at the crown, it'll be pretty obvious. Now, when it comes to like the connection, what they're going to look like, in the cradles, you're actually going to have four connections. And what's going to take place is, so the bottom left will have the connections that will plug into the top cradle. So you're going to have a data, and as you can see, they are color coded. Yellow is going to connect to yellow. Blue is going to connect to blue. You're going to have power, and it's pretty obvious. It's a big old huge, I forgot what gauge. It's like an 8-gauge wire that they use in the sign. It's pretty thick. You'll have one port that you'll plug that into, and then you're going to have a 4-pin Molex, and it's pretty obvious where that's going to go. So you're going to do this for both the left and the right side. Then you're going to go to the top cradle, same thing. On the left side, you will have all four. You will have the data, your power, and a 4-pin Molex. You will do those for the top. Then the crown, like I said, on the left side, you will only have the power and the data. Then on the right side, you're going to have the same connections going all the way up. And then up at the coming off the crown, you're only going to have data or power. Sorry. Oh, got to get my brain right. Sorry about that. Now we pretty much got the whole cabinet built. And again, like I said, if you think about it simply, we start from the ground and we worked our way up. Build a unicab completely. Then you start with your cradles, as we call them, the left and the right, and then you put your crown on. Once you got the crown on, you can go through. And again, like I said, I mean, based off when y'all, and you'll see when as you're putting this together, you're probably gonna be like, oh, we might as well go ahead and do our connections now. You don't necessarily have to do in the process that I'm doing here. I'm just trying to make sure that I cover everything. And again, like I said, you most likely as you're building, each side, you will go ahead and start to do all your connections and everything right then and there. Once we've got the sign pretty much built around the unicab, next thing we want to start looking at, we're going to start putting our monitor on. Now, based off of the monitor, when you open up that box, you're going to, and what we suggest is, and this is probably the easiest way, it's going to have foam that's going to be inside, obviously, the box to protect the monitor itself. The two on top is the ones I would use. I would take those out, and you want to put them in front of the cabinet. As you can see, pretty much, this is my cabinet that's right here. And what I did was I laid the two foam pieces in front of my cabinet. What this does is, one, it allows you to take the monitor out of the box. You can bring it over, and you can lay it on this foam. Based off of when you lay it on the foam, you want to make sure that you have it oriented in the correct way, the right way. Now, let me escape this here. I thought this was, oh, the next one is the video. What and based off of this, when you put the monitor down, you want to go ahead and orient it to where it's going to have these fingers that's actually going to mount, that you're going to attach to the frame, the monitor bracket that's on the cabinet. So you want to orient it to where the monitor's laying flat on the palette, like you see here. Now, this is the video. As you can see, these guys, they pretty much, they bought it over and they sat it down. I didn't get that part. Now what they're going to do, they're going to sit there, they're going to talk to each other for a minute, but yeah, you'll see they will lift the monitor up, one person on each side, and they will mount it into the brackets. And you'll see them do this here in a second. So one person on each side, they're going to lift it up. And those are that's the bracket. So they're going to rest it right in there on those brackets. Now oh, I can't pause this. Based on what you saw there, it's like, so it has, on those fingers that that attach, that the monitor is mounted on, you're going to take, and it's going to be two pieces. One is going to be like the finger, and one is going to be kind of like bowed out. So it's pretty much going to look like, and I'm not an artist, but I'll try my best. So this is like, let's say you're looking at the bracket from the side. This is going to kind of go like this. It's going to have a flange is going to kind of like go out. The monitor is going to go in this part here. So this part here, when you're looking at the monitor, it's going to have this mounting bracket. This piece here is going to go here, and then this piece here is going to be on the outside of the mounting bracket itself. So you mount the bracket, you put the monitor in, and as you see, they raise it up, and one person is going to hold it. Once they hold it into place, oh, these are the points I was talking about that you're going to put the monitor on. With the one person holding the monitor in place, that's going to be two mounting points to where you're going to have to secure the monitor to the mounting bracket, the monitor bracket itself. On the left and right side, it's pretty obvious. You're going to have like, that's going to be the hardware is going to be provided, but these are like spring loaded. So when you push the monitor up, it will hold the monitor in place. As you can see, it has like the little there's this little pin here. So this arm will raise up and it will pretty much latch into place, lock into place, but still have that one person hold the monitor while you go at the one other person, go ahead and put in the screws, one for the left as well as one for the right. All right. With that in place, you can now look at the connections on the, for the monitor itself. As you can see, and you can get to these with the monitor, in its upright position. You'll go ahead and you're going to have a DP cable. You're going to have a USB as well as your power, which is pretty much that 6-pin connection. And again, those are real easy to do. So put the monitor in, mount the monitor in place, secure it, then go ahead and do your connections after that. Once you've got that done, we're almost done with this cabinet. The very next thing you're going to do is you want to go ahead and you're going to open up the box with the iDeck. Now, the iDeck, what I've done is I've actually, we figured out a easier way to do this. You can use the foam out of any one of the other boxes, or I would suggest use the foam that the iDeck is in. So when you open up the iDeck box, you're going to see like this piece of foam that's on top. And you can take that piece out, and again, you're going to put in front of the cabinet. And the reason why you do that, you're going to take the iDeck out after you put the foam down. You just want to rest the iDeck just as you see it right here. Then what's going to take place, video again, the guys, they see that they're going to put their foam down, and they use, out of one of the cradles. And this is when we came up with this idea. So you want to rest the iDeck right here, and by resting it, it allows you, or makes it much easier for you to pass the cables through the opening for the iDeck itself. So you go ahead, and as you can see, they're going to rest it in there, but they now have rested in there. They're going to lift the iDeck up, and obviously it's much easier. And what we were doing in the beginning, we were actually having the guys hold the monitor, or both of them holding, and then one person trying to pass the cables through. Don't do that. As you saw, take the iDeck, rest it on the foam, and you can prop it up against the cabinet a little bit or lean it closer to the cabinet, pass the cables through that opening. Once you got the cables passed through, lift the iDeck up together and slide it into its opening that it has. Once you got it into its opening, or once you have the iDeck slid in, you can't let it go, because based off of that opening, it will hold the monitor. But I mean, it will hold the iDeck. But once you get it in there, what you're going to do is you're actually going to have 4 screws that you're now going to have to secure that iDeck in. Again, use your number 2 tip screwdriver. Go ahead and put those screws in. Once you got those screws in, we can now look at the connections for the iDeck itself. Now, you're going to have a USB, this 20-pin Molex, which controls the USB, the wireless charger. Obviously, the buttons and the lights is on the iDeck, and then you're also going to have your DP. The USB is going to go plug into any available port that is on the backplane board. The DP, you're going to plug that into port 2 of the CPU. The 20-pin Molex, the picture at the bottom, you will see the CPU. The CPU, with the belly door openers right there, right up above the CPU in the back here. There's this connector, this place where this 20-pin connector is going to plug into. That is where you want to plug that in. Once you've got that done, you can now go back over to box 7 of 7, because we went through all the boxes and we have installed all the components. Now, based off of the back panels, you want to start with the lower panels first. With the lower panels, you're going to have obviously one on the left, one on the right. You're going to install those, and to secure them, you'll see based off of, and this, apologize for the CAD drawing, but you'll see how the plate will go in there. You lift it up a little bit, and it has like a lip that's going to be down at the bottom of the cabinet. So you can have like this little piece down here. It's going to have a lip, so you raise it up enough to where it's going to have an arm in the back of the cradle that it's going to pretty much lock on. So it's going to be like this little, again, drawing, this finger that's going to be come off this back plate, and this is going to lock into a bar that's going to be on the back of the unit cap. So you just raise it up enough to where you can lift it up and over, and lock it into place. Then you will go ahead and drill your screws that is into the cabinet. Once you've got that done, for the top plates, you are going to have guide pins. It's going to be on the bottom ones, and you just simply do the same thing. You'll take your top back panels, raise up enough to where you can lift it up over the lip, those fingers, put it into place, and then secure those. One of the things I just noticed, and I'm making myself notes here. Down here at the bottom, we have these stabilizer brackets. If you are doing a inline that's going to be only, say, against the wall, these stabilizer brackets are not used. But if you are, say, doing it like in a pod or something, so you're pretty much going to have like 4 of them. I can see it being done, but I don't see it being done. You want to use these stabilizer brackets. So if you pretty much think of it this way, if it's going up against the wall, these stabilizer brackets are not needed. If you're going to put them in like a pod, or a football shape, whatever kind of shape you're going to put, they're going to pretty much be in the middle of the floor. You want to put these stabilizer brackets on. If you are not going to be using them, we are asking that you just, if you can return them or RMA them back to us, we'll take those. And that's something else I have to add into my presentation. So we pretty much got our back panels all installed and stuff. And the last thing we have to do is we have to take our footrest. They have this cover that will go over there, and pretty much just snaps into place. You will just put it in there, and then you want to press down. And when you press down, you'll hit snap into place. Once it's snapped into place, you pretty much got the cabinet built. Now you can go through. You got to install the software. And based off it's the software, you can option the cabinet out. And then you can, once you got it all optioned out, you can go ahead and release it for people to play the game. And that's pretty much it. again, like I said, I'm gonna send this over to y'all in a PDF form. I'm gonna make some change. I'm gonna tweak my notes and stuff. Tweak this based off of my notes. And what I'll do is I'll send this over to y'all in a PDF form. But for right now, do you all have any questions? And I'm looking at the chat as you all can see. Brian, you good? Oh, Kevin, you're typing. The machine itself is again, it's 111.9 inches. So it's little less than 10 feet. All right. So again, I mean, the easiest way to remember in this cabinet, even though it's a big cabinet, just remember, start from the ground up. So you pretty much unicab in place. Based off the unicab, complete the footrest assembly. Based off the footrest assembly, you do have one box that's going to have most of the parts, but in the box with the topper is in, no, box number 7, it's going to have those 2 black pieces that go on the back. Once you get all that installed, you'll start with your cradles. And again, you can do one side and then do the other, but no, backwards. Footrest, top box. Top box, after that's done, cradles. You can start on either side, left or right, or you can do, each side at a time. And so you get your top and your bottom and your top cradles put on. Then once you got that done, you put the crown on. But before you mount the crown, go ahead and put the candle on it. Make sure you do the connections for the top box to connect it to the unicab, and then the candle for from the crown. Once that's all done, you got the one LED panel you got to insert into the crown. From there, you pretty much do all your connections. Based off of once all the connections and everything is done, you can go through and you can uh, power the cabinet on, power the sign on, install your software. Once the software is installed, you go ahead and option the cabinet out, and you're good to go. That's about it, fellas. I mean, I really don't have anything else, but look for this PDF. Look for this PDF. And probably like later on this afternoon, I'll get it over to you all. But I'm gonna go through and make the corrections that I need to make. Now, one more time. Kevin, you good? I know Brian, you say you are, but I just want to make sure. Kevin, you good to go? So are you familiar with Argo software? Kevin is asking, is there anything? Oh, you can see it. Okay, so that's nothing different. So we still using the same CPU. There's no special features. The content for the sign will be driven from the CPU and all that. So once you install the software, it will run the sign and everything else. Any other questions? Keep in mind, based off of this cabinet, because it's so big, and I'm not familiar with your area, but look at what's the look at how you want to store it. Based off of store the boxes, based off of put it as close as you can, to that area if you cannot bring all the boxes out. Then based off the boxes, right off the bat, you're definitely going to need the unicab. You're going to need the footrest components. You're going to need the topper, and then in box number 7, you're going to get the black pieces out that goes on the back of the footrest. So unicab, um, footrest components, box number 2, and out of box number 7, the plates for that. Once you get those done, you can take those boxes back, and then you'll start with boxes 3, 4, 5, and 6, which will be your cradles. Okay, we'll be going over the inside of the cabinet for our technicians. Well, as far as the inside, and again, when you see the unicab, let's do this. Pictures. Let me stop sharing. Well, not stop sharing. Let me end this presentation. Escape this. Discard. That's still there. Got to make changes there. Let me go here. 1128. Inside the cabinet. And again, this is like all the pictures and stuff I have. There's not really a lot that's inside of the cabinet itself. I'm trying to find one to show you. Oh, this is the belly door. Like I said, it can be it easily comes off. And as you can see, this is like the down here. And can I mark this up? I can't mark it up. But over here on the right hand side, you can see like these are the fingers that the that rest inside the cabinet itself. Now, I want to find something for the cabinet. And so this is a subwoofer, like I was telling you. It pretty much sits on like these four black pieces that those pretty much like rubber. And based off the subwoofer, it has openings, on each side that the subwoofer will rest on it. Um, Subwoofer again. That's a close-up shot of that. And you can see back there in the back, those two power distributions, one for the cabinet and one for the sign. CPU, I showed you that. That'll be behind the belly door. This is pretty much the switch for the main monitor. Here we go. So inside the cabinet, right over here by this gentleman's hand, on the left-hand side is where the printer is going to be. On the right-hand side is where the BB is going to be, but in order for you to get to it, is obviously it's much easier to get to it from um, the cash box access door. Very back, over here, this little silver box, that's actually our audio board, but for whatever reason, I decided to put it into a case. Then right next to it, we have our LCU board, which you all are probably already familiar with. This is where, this is what controls all of the lights itself. And I wish I had gave me a new cabinet, but this is pretty much what you'll see, in the cabinet. That's not a whole lot in there. And when you all see it, I mean, it's going to be real easy for you to just show the guys what they got to see. Up at the top in this picture here, that's that cable. When you got the topper mount on, you want to make sure that you connect it. So this yellow and green cable is plugged in. Can I make this bigger? Yeah, I can. You want to make sure you plug in your topper, to this cable that's running down right here. And again, if you don't, what's going to happen is you're going to get that T code. Not a whole lot there. What's in my next picture? This is pretty much like a side angle of the monitor mounting bracket. Pretty straightforward. You'll see that. Uh, this is what the box is going to kind of look like, but they're not. Yours are going to be on a pallet. Unfortunately, in engineering, we had them all uncrated already, but the boxes are pretty big, and they will have labels on them. Again, the cabinet itself, side view of it. This is what it's going to look like once it is completed. Depending on your game thing, you'll have your monitor, and then around the outside, the signage itself, footrest, different game things. Now, I will say while I'm thinking about it, do you, both of you, let me go over here to my chat, have access to our YouTube page? And the reason why I'm asking, based off some of these things that I'm going through, even like the installation, we do have all the videos done with the exception of, okay, I'll make sure I'll send over to both of you the YouTube videos. But as a matter of fact, let's do this. Well, let's go to pictures first. I'm getting ahead of myself. I'll show you all the site, and then I'll email it over to you. In the back of the cabinet, we made it easy to where you can actually, that we have this opening to where you can, put your hand in, and you can pull the cabinet back. Like I said, based off that way, it sounds intimidating, but if you use the right hand truck, ones that has the, pretty much the wheels, but it also has the to where it allows you to where you can take the cabinet and lay it and be on four wheels. I'll suggest going that type of hand truck. It's just the back of the cabinet. This is a close up of your two brackets. The silver piece here will be in the footrest box. This black piece again is going to be in box number 7. I don't know why they did it that way, but those are 3 screws I was saying about how it mounts on there. And this is what the cradle is obviously going to rest in. This is one of the cradles when and as you can see, it's a lot of wires and stuff, but don't let that bother you. But you'll end up taking them out based off of whichever one it is you're going to be doing. This again is that point that based off of the left cradle. Right cradle. You're gonna have this card. It's gonna have this. You're gonna have this DVI to DP cable, which is gonna be found in the topper box. You want to connect it and then pass it through. Again, it'll be pretty obvious when you look at it. You'll see it. Power plug. We talked about that. It's pretty much what it's going to look like on the inside. And this is our again lower left. We got the DVI cables. It's ran into the cabinet and all that stuff, and it's obviously mounted to the cabinet itself. Oh, this is one of the points. So when you're looking at the cabinet, obviously he's on the left-hand side. He's pointing out where one of the screws is going to be to secure it. But like I said, in the newer cabinets, these were all prototypes that we had. They actually, you look in the cabinet, you see an arrow. That's an indication of where you're going to secure the cradles to. And this is like that teardrop. So when you lift the cradle up and in, and each of them will have 2 openings, you'll lift it up and then you'll push it in and then let the cradle rest. And then based off of this one, you will see in this picture, and I'll just zoom in right here, this opening here. I don't know if y'all can see my mouse or not. I can't mark this up. Or can I? Oh, let's do an edit. Markup. Here we go. This is the one point where, again, you will be putting security screws. So it's easy to remember based off of the alignment. So one screw is going to go there, and you're going to have another that's going to be right back there, and then another in the bottom. And again, just look for that. That's going to be an arrow that's going to be stamped into the unicab itself, and so it makes it much easier for you to see what it is you got, where those go. Hey, okay. What do we have next? But inside the cabinet, there's not a whole lot to it. Did that help you out, Brian? Back to yeah. All right. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna show y'all one more thing, and then we'll call it after this. We do have, like I said, a YouTube page, and I just so happen to still have it up. I'm gonna send you all over this link, but what it's gonna look like when you open it up. Come on. Oh, let me go to home then. Fine. It didn't want to go there for whatever reason. But this is what the homepage, this is what it's going to look like when you open it up. As you can see, we're going to have, we have one that has EGMs, all of, pretty much all the videos. I got to make a tab for Horizon. And that's what I was working on last night. Because I have, based off of, you go to full playlist for EGMs, you can scroll down through, and the most likely is going to be at the bottom. It used to be in alphabetical order, but it's no longer in alphabetical order. So you just pretty much go down to the bottom. We're looking for Horizon. So you can see I have, the cabinet introduction. You can show those to the guys. Installation part 1 is pretty much is going to be building the sign. We'll put the unit cabinet in place and build the sign. And then part 2 is pretty much, you're going to start with the iDeck and all, the monitor and all that stuff. to get that in. And then I also have videos to show you how to go about removing, the LCU board, your audio board, as well as, if you got to change out the button on the iDeck itself. If the iDeck was to go bad, you're not going to do any repairs. You just pretty much is going to be a one-for-one exchange. So you take the one your RMA, the iDeck, you obviously order it, and then when you get the new one in, your RMA the old iDeck back to us, the whole assembly. So it's really just 4 screws, the 3 connections, take it out, put it in the box, put your new one back in, 4 screws, connect your connections and stuff, done and out the way with that one. But I'll send you all over this link, as well as the PDF of my presentation and stuff, and that'll help you all out a lot as well. Back to page. All right, so I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. Do y'all have any other questions for me? Yeah, they can. So the only thing is, and again, let me share my screen one more time. Show you how you go about downloading. We'll go here. Go back to here. So based off of the video, you see how you have these ellipses over here? You click on that ellipse, and then when you click it, you have the ability to download. Cool? All right. Anything else? Now, I do want to tell you, based off of that, our YouTube page, if you go out and try to look for it right now, if you go into YouTube, you're not going to find it. You have to have the link because we pretty much have it unlisted. But you can share the link with anybody and everybody. We just don't have it on a public, out in the public for people to search it. But you have to actually have the link. All right, let me postpone this for 30 minutes. All right, well, if there's no more questions, again, Kevin, Brian, hopefully this was pretty informative for you. If y'all have any questions or concerns later on, you can always email me and I'll try to get whatever it is you need or answered for you and stuff. But this is, even though it's a big cabinet and looks intimidating, it's actually a real easy cabinet to to work with as well as install. So you all shouldn't have any issues. With that, I want to tell you both thank you. Y'all have a safe day, and look to get the YouTube link from me, the PDF of this presentation after I get it corrected. All right? You both have a good day. Be safe.